Let me ask you a question that's going to make you feel very uncomfortable. In 5 years, who is actually going to care about a number on a piece of paper you've been stressing over right now? Think about it. Right now, your entire world is closing in. You've got finals, you've got a test, and your entire friend group is stuck in this loop. But the only thing you can talk about is, yo, what did you get on your math test, bro? If I don't get 90%, I'm cooked. Bro, you're basing your entire identity, self-worth, and your future happiness on a percentage. But I'm here to tell you the truth. Your teachers, or maybe even your parents won't. Nobody cares in 2030. Nobody's gonna ask you what you got on your chemistry test. Nobody's gonna care if you were the smart kid or the struggling kid, falling for the biggest lie in the education system. It's crazy how friend groups change during exam seasons. You see kids who got 100% walk around like they've just won a Nobel Prize, thinking they've made it. And you'll see the kid who's got 60% act like their dog has just died. But here's the reality. Getting 100% on a test makes you smart for exactly 1 week. After that, it's the same. It doesn't change who you are, it doesn't make you a better person, it definitely doesn't guarantee you success in life. I've seen kids who get straight A students in high school and reach 22 and have zero social skills, zero work ethic, and have no idea how the real world works. They spent their entire youth chasing a gold star from a teacher. On the flip side, if you failed, it's not the end of the world. Unless you literally need a grade to get into a specific program like medicine or law, that F is just a letter. It's not a reflection of your intelligence. It's a reflection of how well you can memorize a textbook for 45 minutes. Now let's be balanced here. I'm not saying you should just walk into class, flip a table. I passed my exams. I did well. There's a specific group of you where grades do matter. If your goal was to become a doctor or a scientist or an engineer or a lawyer, yeah, you need those grades. You can't hustle your way into becoming a heart surgeon. You need a degree for that. But let's talk to the 90% of you for a second. If you're sitting there telling everyone, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur, I'm gonna make money, I'm gonna become a content creator, but you're crying over a history test, why? If your goal has nothing to do with the traditional system, why are you letting systems, metrics define your happiness? If you're doing nothing outside of school to build your own path, then 100% on a test isn't going to save you. And if you're working on your own stuff, then a 40% isn't going to stop you. Let's talk about the scariest person you'll meet in 5 years. The guy who's the smartest kid in your grade and did absolutely nothing else. School is just a giant game of Simon Says, as cringy as it is. The teacher says, memorize this, and you do it. The teacher says, sit here for an hour, and you do it. If you're good at following instructions, the system gives you 100% and tells you you're a genius. But here's the problem. The real world doesn't give a damn about how well you follow instructions. In the real world, there is no teacher standing over you telling you what to study. There's no syllabus for making money or building a life. If you spend your entire teenage years being a good student, you're training yourself to be a high-level employee, not a leader. You're training yourself to wait for permission before you take action. I've seen it happen. A straight A student goes to college, gets a safe degree, and ends up in a cubicle working for a guy who got C's in his high school, but spends his weekends actually building something. Why? Because a C student learned how to fail. He learned how to handle disappointment of a bad grade and keep growing. The straight A student was often so terrified of seeing 99% instead of that 100 that they didn't take any real risks. They're paralyzed with the fear of being wrong. Don't let a perfect transcript become a cage that keeps you from trying everything. It's difficult, but wait. I do need to talk to people who use this school as an scam excuse to be lazy. That's the biggest trap of all. You see the top G edits saying school is for losers, so you decide to fail your exams on purpose. You play video games all night, you don't study, you fail. You have to tell your parents it's fine. Bill Gates dropped out. Bro, Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard. He didn't fail 5th grade English because he was too busy playing Valorant. If you're failing school and you have nothing else going for you, no businesses, no skills, no gym routine, no discipline, you aren't a rebel, you're just a loser. You're using school as a scam narrative to cope with the fact you have zero work ethic. If you can't handle this discipline of sitting down and studying 2 years, how are you going to handle the discipline of running a business for 10 years? Now I know what some of you are thinking. Bro, I agree with you, but if I bring home a 50%, my mum is literally going to end my life. I get it. Parental pressure is number one reason why you're stressing right now. But you have to understand where they're coming from. Your parents aren't obsessed with a grade because they love letter A. They're obsessed because they're scared. They want you to know they've got a future. They want you to know that you're not going to be living in their basement when you're 30. If you want your parents to stop breathing down your neck about exams, you have to give them something else to believe in. If you tell your dad, I failed my maths test because school is a scam, he's going to be furious. And he's right to be, because you sound like a lazy kid. If you show him, look, I got 70% on this test, but I putting 4 hours a day in learning this skill, building this project, or building this business, and here's the progress I've made. He might still be annoyed, but he'll respect the hustle. Respect is earned through results, not excuses. You can't ask for freedom to ignore exams if you haven't proven that you're disciplined enough to work on something else. If you sit your time after school rotting on a bench, then yeah, your parents should be mad about your grades, because that's the only metric they have to see if you're actually trying. Stop arguing with them and start outsourcing your expectations. When you actually show real world competence, the pressure of the classroom starts to fade away. The only thing you're taking away from school is discipline and the social intelligence. School is a social laboratory. It's where you learn how to deal with people you don't like. It's where you learn how to hit a deadline where you don't want to. But the content of the exam, 99% of it is useless. But the process of showing up and getting the job done, that matters. I've seen the smartest kid in my school get the highest grades. But they have no backbone. They can follow instructions perfectly, but they can't think for themselves. And in 5 years, the guy who got 70% and spent his free time how to communicate, how to build things, how to stay disciplined, is going to lap the guy who's got 100% and stayed in his bedroom. The next time you're sitting on a desk with a test in front of you and your heart's racing, you feel like you're going to throw up, take a deep breath and do the 5-year test and ask yourself, will I remember this question in 14 years? No. Will anyone ask me about this grade in 5 years? No. Will my life be over if I get a C? Absolutely fucking not. Do your best. Try to pass. Don't be a bum. But once you hand that paper in, let it go. Don't spend the next 3 years dissecting it with your friends. Don't spend the night crying because you missed one question. The real exams start after school. The real test is what you do with your free time, how to treat your friends, and whether or not you're actually building a life you're proud of. Stop letting a letter on one piece of paper tell you who you are. Go pass your exams and then do something that actually matters. Before I go, I want you to imagine something. Imagine it's 5 years from now, the stress of the week, it's gone. You don't even remember the name of the teacher you hated. You don't remember the formula for the math problem that kept you up till 2 a.m. The hallways of your school are silent. You're standing in the real world, and in that moment, nobody's going to hand you a rule book. Nobody's going to tell you what to study and what to do next. The safety net of school is officially gone. And for most people, that's the most terrifying moment of their lives. Why? Because they spent 15 years learning how to be a good student, but they never learned how to be a human being. They spent their entire youth waiting for someone else to give them a grade, to tell them that they were good enough. And when they go into the real world and there aren't no grades, they freeze. They stop moving. They realize they have no internal compass because they let the school system build it for them. The world doesn't grade you on a curve. The world doesn't care if you tried your best. The world only cares about one thing: value. What you can actually do. Can you solve problems? Can you lead people? Can you stay disciplined when nobody's watching? Can you build something out of nothing? That is your real report card, and that report card has been written for you every single day, not just during finals week. If you spend your 20s crying over something, crying over the fact that you weren't the smart kid in high school, you've already lost. And if you spent your 20s arrogant and lazy because you were the smart kid, you've also lost. The clock is ticking. While you're sitting in there stressing over a history test, the version of you that you're supposed to be is waiting. He's waiting for you to realise the school is just a small, noisy room in an massive infinite mansion. Don't let the walls of that small room be your entire horizon. Go take your tests, be respectful, do the work. But the moment you walk out those doors, I want to flip a switch in your brain. Stop being a student and start being a builder. Most people are going to spend their whole lives waiting for a gold star that's never coming. They're going to wait for promotion, wait for a lucky break, wait to tell them it's okay to start. Don't be most people. The most important exam you'll ever take isn't a desk in a classroom. It's a choice you're going to make tonight. When you close your phone, are you going to go back into that brain raw, or are you going to start building the person you're actually meant to become? Success isn't something that's given to you by a teacher. It's something that you have to take from a world that doesn't give it back. Hand it that paper, walk out the room, and show them who you really are supposed to be.